welcome. This is it's 6:01 on March 26, 2024. My name is Nick Kremp. I'm the Leominster Conservation Agent. This is the Conservation Commission regular meeting. Before we get started, I just want to remind everyone, please silence any devices you might have so we don't have any interruptions. And I will take the role of the commissioners present. Jim Chambers.
Here.
Mike Seeke.
Here.
Nick Venti.
Here.
And Chuck Raven.
Here.
And with that, we have a quorum. Absent are Rich Gullick and Steph Quinlan and Bob Seacard. Rich and Steph may join us a little late here, but anyway, we have a quorum, so we can go ahead and get started. I will leave it to my chair, Chuck Raymond.
Thank you, Nick, and welcome everybody. Glad to have you. Typically what I do at the beginning of these meetings is to ask if there are any comments from the public about items that aren't on the agenda. But looking at you folks, I think you're all here for an item on the agenda, so I will go right past through that agenda item. Under new hearings, I'll go ahead and read it into the record. Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a request for a determination of applicability for a restoration project in the buffer zone of Bartlett Pond. Address 1455 Elm Street, map and parcel 357-1. And because it's only RDA, there is no DEP number needed. And here's Commissioner Stephanie.
Good evening.
Welcome, introduce yourself.
Yep, thank you. My name is Jessica B.C. Powell. I'm from the National River Watershed Association. I want to take a seat. How about that?
Yes.
Okay. We are partnering with the Leominster Sportsmen's Association on this ecological restoration project. The goal of the project is to create a well-vegetated native buffer.
Jessica, 1 second. She just started, so you haven't missed anything, so have a seat. And
Don't see a video.
I'll just note for the record, our Vice Chair, Rich Gullick, and Steph Quinlan are present. So,
sorry, just go ahead.
Yeah, so we're trying to recreate a buffer where basically right now there's either a sparsely vegetated buffer, lawn, or there's in a portion of the area a hard packed parking lot. The project from our end is funded under a grant from the United States Forest Service, and the larger purpose of the grant is to restore these vegetated buffers throughout the Merrimack River watershed, of which the National River watershed is part. So basically the project site is about 45 feet by 450 feet wide, and I don't know if you will have seen this, and this is not a good image of it.
So I shared this on the drive with everyone. Has everyone had a chance to look at it?
If you haven't, you can look at my very bad copy here, but basically this is Bartlett Pond.
And there's a beach there.
There's
It's not a beach.
not really a beach. There's this narrow strip right here, which is grass, right along the banks. There's a few benches along there and a pavilion right about here.
Okay.
Up here, there's a causeway that kind of divides the pond in two. And then down here is the spillway of a dam that dams off what is Bartlett Pond Brook. So this is the headwaters of the brook, basically. That goes on downstream. And so this is the grassy area I talked about, and then right next to it there's this hard packed parking lot, and then Elm Street. And then across the street from that is the Sportsman's building right here. And then all the rest of they have quite a bit of land back here with a shooting range and so forth, but they own this pond. Most of this side of the pond is pretty well vegetated in terms of forest, at least to some degree. So what we're proposing is to basically tear up a strip of that hard packed parking lot that's about 20 feet wide by 400 feet long. This would be done with a Boy Scout troop who would use shovels and pickaxes to do the work.
Wow.
This is hypothetically, this is what the, this side of the work will actually be done by the Sportsmen's Association. We'll be there to help, but they're organizing this side of it. And then it will be hauled off with a skid steer and wheelbarrows to a site that's behind the building on this side. And it would be outside of any resource area. So the stream, Bartlett Pond stream runs this way down here, so it would be 200 feet outside of that and 100 feet from at least 100 feet from the pond itself. After that happened, they would have brought in 4 inches of loam over that disturbed area, lay that down, and then seed that with a native seed mix. Following that, we, National River Watershed Association, and volunteers that would come from our end, with the Boy Scouts, if they're still there, they're not too tired, would then plant about 250 bare root seedlings of native plants. These would be things like silky dogwood, red oak, silver maple, some nannyberry, and elderberry. These are tiny, tiny seedlings with like a single little root, basically. And what we use for that is we just take a dibble bar, which is like a long, thin spade, open up the earth a little bit, tuck the seedling in, and then just tuck the soil right back around it. If we have quite a few volunteers, we might use hand trowels or even a traditional garden spade to do that. But all in all, this planting work, which would be in that newly loamed area and in that along that grassy strip, and a little bit of the causeway here that's not very well vegetated, that would be done with very minimal disturbance of any kind. They would leave a few pockets, as I mentioned before, where there are the benches and the pavilion. Those would not be planted with any plants because they actually do hold fishing derbies in this pond, and they want to leave access for fishing, people to come down and fish right on the edge. So those are already areas that are like, have these designated places for people to come and enjoy the pond and the view of the pond and so forth. And so we wouldn't be planting those or disturbing those. The plants themselves would be about 8 feet apart. And the job of keeping them alive during that first growing season, which is sort of when they're at their most perilous, would fall to probably members of the Sportsmen's Association just to come out and water them. That's really all that they should need that first year. So that's it, I think, and I'll take any questions that you have.
How many?
I don't have any questions.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How many, it was like 600 plants or something?
250 bare root seedlings is what we're projecting.
Okay, 250.
And there was one member of the association who said that he wanted to also plant like about 6 larger hemlocks, maybe like 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
It's not clear if he's gonna remain involved in the project, so that would be coming from there, and that wouldn't be something that we would be bringing in, so that part may or may not happen.
It just, when I read it, it sounded like a lot of trees for a small space.
Yeah, so they're about 8 feet apart, and that would be a mix of shrubs and trees, so that's a pretty typical planting distance for those types of plants, and we don't expect 100% survival either.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
Yeah.
that.
One question I did have, and Nick and I were commenting on this term earlier.
Yeah.
We both read the term minimally invasive. Were you talking about the particular species or minimally
Oh.
invasive approach to putting the plants in?
Minimally invasive approach, meaning not much
Got it.
disturbance of
Okay,
the soil.
so you just described no heavy equipment, no skid steer.
The skid steer they might use this as skid steer. This would be, if they have one available, they might use a skid steer just for the ripping up of the parking lot.
Okay.
Which is getting vehicle traffic anyways these
Okay.
days. So
Okay.
that would be the only thing. Everything else is done by hand.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, I'm glad to see that those are all native New England plants too, so
Yeah,
that's
yep.
good stuff.
Yeah, and they come from a local stock. We get most of them from the New Hampshire State Forest Nursery,
Mhm.
and some of them we actually have culled out of like local wetland areas with permission from the landowners, like some of the silky dogwood and so forth. And you can root those yourself just from stems. So
Mhm.
Were the 7 hemlock the only large
yes,
trees?
yeah.
We got silver maple, right?
Silver maple, yeah.
Red oak.
And red oak, some red oak, yep.
Yeah.
But large when you're planting.
Right, right.
They will get large, but they're not large when
Those will
planted.
get
They are
big.
tiny.
From
Yeah,
little acorns, stupid
Right,
just
right, no, so
go.
yeah.
So, I mean, on the other side of the pond
Yeah.
is, it's a wooded fishing area, and you can find all kinds of fishing tackle thrown up in the trees,
Mhm.
because, it's a forest.
Mhm.
And it kind of, it's kind of unsightly, and
Mhm.
there's a lot of beer cans there too, but,
Mhm.
I don't know, do you anticipate, that sort of hazard on that?
Yeah.
I can imagine that becoming sort of a brush filled with trash.
I don't think so. I can't, I'm not a member of the association, so I can't really answer that, but I don't think so, and the reason is that the clubhouse is so close, and I think that area gets a lot more traffic from the actual members who care about what it looks like. But of course, I can't guarantee that.
Yeah.
The person that I was working with, he was sort of coming up into the leadership, was really just gonna be great. He had to step down, but, he was concerned about some of that, and he was gonna be
Yeah.
patrolling so
Okay.
people weren't
Okay.
trapping beavers there anymore when they weren't supposed to be, and doing different things to get at some of that trash, but, so there's a bit of a change of leadership right now, and, I can't speak for them, but that would be my guess.
Do you know how big the pond is?
I know that it's, I don't know square footage, I know that it's a 24-acre impoundment.
Okay, so 40 acres is a great pond.
Yeah, that
It
sounds right.
requires public access.
Yep,
And it's a natural, it's gotta be a natural pond, it's a great pond.
Yes.
So this would not be, because it's an impoundment, it's only formed because of the dam.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how come the Nashua, it's a great project,
yeah.
beautiful. How is the Nashua River watershed associated with that? Because I believe that outflow goes to the Wachusett Reservoir.
So the Wachusett Reservoir is in our watershed.
It is?
Actually, and I think you're right about that. It's been a while since I followed the maps downstream.
It is,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, so they actually approached us, because I was saying to Chuck and Nicholas earlier that they approached us because they were concerned about the pond and how it's infilling over the years with vegetation and soil and so forth. And they wanted to know what they could do to revitalize it, because they stock it with trout, but it's no longer very suitable for trout because the water is pretty warm in there now. And so there are different things you can do. You can install an aerator, you could dredge it, but
Shade.
we are not really into any of those things, so we suggested that, yeah, you could have this strip that has no vegetation, it would at least provide some sort of shade and also help with potentially nutrient or pollutant flow into the pond. So this is one thing that you could do, and then you're welcome to examine the other things you might like to do. Yeah,
Don't forget also, the main stem of the Nashua comes out of the Wachusett Reservoir in Clinton.
yeah, it's South Nashua, that's right, and joins
South
with the
Nashua.
North Nashua.
Oh, so that's, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, so the Wachusett just doesn't keep flowing into the water system of Boston?
No.
It has it-
No,
okay.
they
No,
use
no,
the
no,
water.
that's all
By
pumped,
aqueduct.
it's all pumped, yeah.
Yeah, it's all
Piping,
pumped.
yeah.
Yeah, so the Quabbin comes to the Wachusett and then it
Yeah.
goes from there to
Right.
Boston, yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to.
That's
No, it's a good question,
Nice.
really logical.
And so you mentioned that one member was interested in bringing hemlocks in. If he's not involved, then that's not gonna happen.
I doubt it.
Okay.
So this change in leadership has been like happening over the last week-ish.
Mhm.
So I've yet to talk with the new leadership, but they at least have said that they want to stay involved with the project, but we haven't talked about the particulars of like, are you still gonna bring in the hemlocks, for example?
Right.
Yeah.
And this is probably far afield, but do you know where he might be sourcing those, or if they're gonna be like?
I think his intention was to dig them up from their own property.
Okay. So they're just like local
I think so.
hemlocks.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Because he had talked about that for some blueberry bushes too, but in the end, he didn't want to include that, so.
Is your issue really adulterant or something?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not super up to date on the research, but I didn't know if it would be like adulgent resistant or something like that.
It's
I
a
know
good
that's a big
point.
thing with elms, is
Yeah.
DED resistant elms, so.
Yeah, if they are going to do that, I would, I can pass on whatever message, basically, like you're comfortable with them coming from your own property, but not importing them from elsewhere or whatever
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Questions, comments, no?
Oh, I do have one. So with the skid steer,
Yeah.
that would just be to help break up the pavement.
To help
Move it.
potentially break it up, but more just to move it, was the original concept anyways.
So they'll be mainly driving on existing pavement?
Yes.
Like they're not gonna be going down?
Not onto the
dirt
grass or the
all
bank
that?
or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good, I just mentioned that because I didn't see any erosion controls or anything on there, but
Right.
for me, as long as you're mainly staying on the pavement, I mean, I don't really
Is there any
mind.
pavement there, or it's just hard pack?
It's just
Hard
hard
pack.
pack, there's no real pavement, yep,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
It's probably pretty much considered impermeable though, even though it is, but yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
So I just noting that if anyone wanted to put it in conditions, but I don't personally think that that's necessary, so.
So this, I mean, that's the only real clear access to that pond.
Mm-hmm, that's true.
And it is a really popular spot with, it's a lot of kids that wanna go fishing there in the Derby, right?
I understand that actually the people that are
Hold it,
fishing in
hold
the
it.
pond.
Do you have a question?
I'm sorry, yeah.
Is there a question there?
So, I'm just thinking, the current use of that space, it's like a cleared area, it's really, otherwise, if you're fishing, you gotta contend with the brush and the tangles and things. I guess, my concern would be that the sportsman's club decides they don't want this,
Mhm,
like, they don't want this area someday,
mhm,
like, with the trees, the vegetation,
Mhm.
and they wanna get rid of it.
mhm.
Just because the way it's set up right now, it's a functional space
Mhm.
for that purpose. I guess my question would be, And especially considering the change in leadership there, do you have a sense of how committed the Sportsman's Club is to the new changes, the proposed changes?
If you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said very committed. We're still feeling our way through that question now. I hear what you're saying, and I guess my perspective is, if they want to do it now, that's a good faith sign. And we can't control what they're going to do in the future, but at least I think there's a good chance that the parking lot, at least, because they have parking behind the building too. So I think there's at least a good chance that that section that's now, dug up and planted as parking lot wouldn't necessarily go back to being parking lot anytime in the near future. Because it's some effort to get it out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And they have parking elsewhere. So that's at least a net bonus, even if they decide they want to cut the trees or.
And don't forget, also, if they come back in a few years and want to cut them, they gotta come before us.
I guess that's true.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would be back to where it is now.
Right, correct.
Single lot.
It's
So no net loss.
Net, yeah.
A lot of
So only
work for nothing.
goodness can
That's
come
a
out
fair
of this.
point.
And also, I'd rather not deal in hypotheticals.
Yeah.
We kind of ask empirical questions and I'd rather not get into the what if.
Yeah.
We can keep that in mind too. Anyway,
Yep, it's good to.
anybody else?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think it's great.
Yeah.
yeah, good luck. Nick, what do you, and this is an RDA, so don't go open to the public, right? Or do we?
Yeah, no, it's a public hearing. so-
Okay, that's true, okay. And I want to make sure I open up to the public, but you folks are here for your own agenda item, so no questions from the public, so I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to close this portion.
So moved.
Second?
Second it.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, I'll take the commission's vote by roll. Jim Chambers,
Aye.
Rich Gullick,
Aye.
Steph Quinlan,
Aye.
Nick Venti,
Aye.
Mike Siki,
Aye.
and Chuck Raymond.
Aye.
Okay, so that's 5-0.
And your recommendation, Nick?
So, yeah, I think it's a good project. It's unexpected, frankly. It was just kind of a surprise getting this across my desk, but it was a very pleasant surprise. I think it would be nice. I think it's good they're keeping those areas open to, keep the function of the area, current to what it is. And I would recommend that we find a -2 determination that the area in question is in our jurisdiction, but that it will not alter the area negatively, really, so.
All right, good. Well, then I will, based on the agent's recommendation, I will entertain a motion to approve it, to issue this a -2 determination for the project.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Steph. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Rich.
Okay. Take the commission's vote by roll. Jim Chambers,
Aye.
Rich Gullick,
Aye.
Steph Quinlan,
Aye.
Nick Venti, Mike Siki,
Aye.
and Chuck Raymond.
Aye.
All
All right, thank you, Jessica.
All right,
Good to
thanks
see you.
for your
If
time,
you have any
Nick.
questions, if you or they have any questions as this proceeds, feel free to get in touch with me.
And if for some reason they decide not to proceed, I'll let you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Excellent.
come back with more of these projects.
Okay, well, we're looking for spots
Yeah.
within your town, your city, so, and throughout the watershed. So if you have ideas, please feel free to contact me for restoration.
And we'll
right,
continue our
restoration.
conversations about the Linden's Neck Brook too.
Yes, yes, we will, yes.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Jessica. Looking for a spare pen, hold on.
Rich, sometimes I don't.
Keep going, okay, okay. All right, moving on then, on to continued hearings. I'll read this one into the record. Pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent for a trail expansion in a wetland and wetland buffer zone. Address Prospect Street, mapping parcel 411-49, DP number 199-1190. Welcome,
I'm
Nick.
me, Carolyn Cooney from Carolyn Cooney Associates, and Daryl Ward is here with me to answer questions. I guess I should try to put these up there.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll move over and get out of your way.
There you go. Tight fit, tight fit.
Chairs take up space.
You know, it might go this way.
Let's make a motion for that.
Yeah.
Oh, chairs.
Hey, you like the new chairs, man?
Yeah, this is great.
So I think Nick, did you give everybody their drawings?
No, but I can pass those out as we begin here.
So I'm gonna try to just go through the drawings in the order that you would have in the packet. So some things are more important than other things, but, you know, we did receive some comments from you and DEP about the erosion control areas being, graphically in the wetlands. So this just illustrates, that they are on the buffer zone side of the wetlands here in yellow. And right here is the wetlands. This line is the buffer zone, so as you may remember, I mean, almost the entire project except this part is either in the buffer zone or in the wetlands. So that just really, and this is just the lower part of the site. And these two drawings are the site prep drawings, so they're not too thrilling, but, but this just shows we are taking out 3 trees in the alignment, and we would be replacing some smaller trees in the wetland replication. But these notes I highlighted that you should have is that, the important one is here, is that the construction of the boardwalk is gonna be limited to handheld, motorized, non-wheeled equipment, and that they will build the boardwalk from, if they want to, build the decking, and they can put things on the decking, they can have wheels on the decking, but the actual construction is gonna be by people on the ground with whatever handheld equipment they need. And I think it says more about, you know, limiting their activity to the footprint of the boardwalk as much as possible. They'll have to walk back and forth. We actually saw the garden in the woods being built this way, and it is, you know, more time consuming, but it is done that way. So that's what the notes and the specs will reinforce that. Also, it says when clearing the boardwalk, to cut the plants flush with the ground and leave the roots. So, and that, last time, when we first submitted it, we had bituminous paving for this walkway down to here and for the accessible spaces, but we've changed that to permeable pavers. And I think we had, well, and also DEP requested that we have some sort of buffer here. This parking lot does have a concrete curb around it, and it will be, basically, the drainage will be contained to this gravel area. But these are small depressions that we'll plant that are, you know, could be called water gardens. So if any drainage were to come from the parking lot, it would be stored there, a little bit of it would be stored there. And I really don't think that there's gonna be a lot coming off the parking lot because it's gravel. It has 6 inches of gravel for water to percolate down. But we were asked about snow storage last time. And we talked to the Recreation Department. They said that they are not planning to plow it except for emergencies. And they wouldn't be salting it. But they did say, we are suggesting that if they ever had to plow it, that it would be stored within the parking lot in the first kind of, you know, depending on how much snow you have. This is an extra paved, it's an extra accessible space. It's 16 by 18, so that, you know, you could push some snow there. And as needed, they would just store the snow along one side of the parking lot. And there might not be a lot of need for parking during that season of the year. So.
Parking doesn't get salted in the winter or anything, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, it does?
No, oh, this wouldn't get salted.
Right, okay.
No, definitely not. I don't know if Leominster salts, but, I mean, there wouldn't be, this goes pretty steeply downhill, so
Right.
there's hardly any drainage coming from the street. And, materials plan was really not much new on this end of it. So I think, again, the bottom half is more what you're interested in. This just shows these existing, right now they're 4-inch PVC pipes will be replaced. These are all existing points of collection. This trail is surfaced with stone down to about here, and there's a existing swale along the edge. So we would just replace these with panel drains, which would be really similar in the same locations, and then have 2 new ones down here for the new stretch of trail that is gonna be, right now, it's just kind of muddy. It's gonna be surfaced with the aggregate, the stone aggregate. And it's pretty wet right now, so I think we need some drainage.
Is it clay underneath there? Are you gonna excavate any of that, or?
We're not gonna excavate, it's, well, it's a little hard to say, it depends on the grading. We might have to excavate some, but not purposely to get rid of the soil. It is like a sandy loam, so,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it's, it has some poorly drained layers, so I guess that's why it's poorly drained, and it does get like a lot of drainage from the slope right next to it. But
So it's
it
a
actually
collection.
isn't awful soil, yeah, which is, it's not mucky or anything. This is just to show the planting plan, which includes the wetland replication that I'll talk a little bit more about. But it's all plants that we saw that occurred there, basically, that were found by the biologists that looked there. There's, shrub dogwoods, red maples, American elm. They were all species there. So, I'll look at the profile a little bit later, but we do have to replicate for the posts, and the area of the square footage of the posts is about 27 feet. So this is, I think, 32 square feet of replication. And it's located right at the wetland line there, so it's in the upland, but right at the edge of the wetland. And what we would do as far as the process is excavate the first 12 inches of soil there and save that, and then excavate 12 inches more and put the topsoil back, because we have to excavate to bring the elevation down so it will truly be a wetland. So that would be the process, and there's just more wetland plants on that list.
Would you say 32 square feet-ish?
What's that?
32 square feet, you said? Ish?
Yes, yeah.
You got that?
That's a very small plot,
Yeah.
as it should be, if any.
Missed it.
It's silly. You have to replicate that. We make a motion of that? Yeah. Minimum
This is
disturbance.
not user-friendly at all, there we
Yeah, I
go.
was just trying to figure out. a better way
She
to
should
do this
need to
in a-
replicate.
It's not you, it's us.
Yeah.
And again, I think we looked at these last time, they really haven't changed, but
It's gonna
these
change
are
the budget.
sections through the trail just to show
Sorry.
that there will be a gravel-filled trench or to replace that swale along. This is the eastern trail that has a lot of drainage coming off the hillside. This is on the western side of the pond that doesn't really need any additional drainage. It's very dry there.
It's pretty flat over there.
Yeah, it's pretty flat, yeah. It's kind of at the top of the hill rather than at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I think we looked at these last time, the wooden boardwalk. I want to know, because somebody was asking about the elevation. This is 8 inches minimum between the structure and the surface. And actually, we have more like on average 12 inches. So again, this is more. So I think what really changed a little bit from last time is we had more structure in the wetland itself. So now the boardwalk starts in the upland back here. So there's no sills or abutment there. These are higher. We actually have decided to use, Mass Architectural Board has certain slopes that you're not supposed to exceed. So, but the but
There's
it doesn't
slopes
really,
of the boardwalk, you mean?
of the boardwalk
Yeah.
or a trail or
Yeah.
anything. Well, not really, they don't really deal in trails very much, and they don't have a lot of fine points for recreation. We have decided to go with the USDA Forest Trail Accessibility Guidelines, which in all of the national forests they use for trails, which alleviated a lot of the problem here getting up over this hill, being, really too close and everything. So I think it's a lot better. The average of all these measurements of the clear space between the ground and the bottom of the boardwalk is about 12 inches. So it's on average 12 inches clear underneath. And another thing we did was raise the trail here. We're gonna grade up at the entrance so that we're not getting into the surface here. So we just have the 126 posts that equals I think it's about 27 square feet, so we're doing 32 square feet of replication. And this detail just describes that process that I was talking about of taking up, saving the topsoil.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
How does that slope compare to the ADA requirements?
ADA is 1 foot in 12, and this is 1 foot in 10.
Okay. A little steep.
Yeah, it is. So, we will be asking for a variance for that from the MAAB, but I think it's not, it still will be a barrier-free facility. So I think that's,
That's
hopefully
good, that's
a
good.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that, I hope that addresses like a lot of, we didn't talk about the.
Let her finish.
Oh, I have a question about what she just said.
Oh, okay, no, sure, go ahead, okay, sorry, yeah, go ahead. Yeah?
If the MDA or whatever decides that
The
you need a
MAAB.
112, how
Oh,
will
we
that
have to come
change?
back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of hard to juggle these things.
Yeah.
It is.
But that's what variances are for, so hopefully they.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it took a while to realize that that's really what we needed to do, and in the attempt to really, when you read the replication guidelines, the first thing they say is just try not to be in the wetlands at all. Try to be out of it, build walls or whatever, and that's what we're doing, actually. We're putting, to raise the trail, we're gonna have, very low, but a stone wall there in order to have room to grade off by the wetlands. So we feel better about it.
Making it much more accessible.
Yeah, so I didn't speak to the preservative treatment that we gave you the paper about. And last time, somebody asked if there was an alternative, and I said no. But I was wrong, because now what we're using for the post is white oak, which doesn't need to be pressure treated. And we know of a source for it, and again, if we can't do it, we'll be back here. But the posts will be white oak, and also the decking, but the rest of the members will be pressure treated, but they won't be something that's submerged in water.
Correct.
So,
Do you really want to make that change?
yeah,
In terms of the sustainability of
That's
that
a great
boardwalk?
question, yeah.
the white oak is.
I had no issue with the preservatives that I read about. And they
Well,
were
copper,
really
yeah.
bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think reading the paper, I'm a very well-researched paper, but, I mean, there are a lot of subtle things that you don't really see. I mean, some of their statements weren't quite as broad as I thought. They really didn't see any changes, significant changes in that particular variety or ecosystem. So we think white oak is
It's very stable.
yeah, it would be really good, and there is, there's not that many posts, and The decking is kind of like, well, the decking is really nice with white oak, so
It's
that's
considerably
probably
more
not so
expensive, though, isn't
important. It is more expensive, yeah.
What's your call which to use, but don't do it on my account.
I know, well, I know.
You know, it's funny,
The commission's a nice sense.
I can't say I read in every word of the study you sent, because I really don't need to know how everything works here, but I thought it did say, that was interesting, at this point is raised to emphasize the importance of specifying that wood intended for use in sensitive environments, like these, be produced in accordance with the BMP such as those published by the Western Wood Preservers Institute, so. And it goes on to say, the construction of these boardwalk test sections is in a sensitive environment, and the levels of preservative components released did not appear to have any measurable negative effect on populations of aquatic invertebrates at the site, which was
That's what I.
little salamanders and things, you know, worms going through there, so. If you're gonna go to White Oak, have at it, but based on this, as long as the wood is preserved according to those BMPs, doesn't appear to be an issue, but if you wanna go with White Oak,
Yeah, no, I mean, we didn't really, I mean, it's just to try to make it a little bit better.
Yeah,
You
okay.
know,
that's good for you. Alright.
White oak will last a long time.
yeah, that's what my wood expert tells me.
You know, they make barrels out of it, so there you go.
And boats.
Yeah.
And boats too, yeah, right.
I guess they use
And
the foundations and, yeah.
I think I mentioned last week, I do like your planting plan.
Oh, good.
Species, that was good, I like that. Okay, can't find it because I just don't want to see it, but.
Okay.
No, other than that, I have no questions. I think you've sufficiently addressed our questions, comments, and concerns. Anybody else have any?
Definitely.
No? Okay.
I would agree.
All right. Any folks anything you want to add? No? Okay.
It's another wonderful project.
Correct. I'm looking forward to it. No, maybe this would be, give me the impetus to actually walk up the street and go to it.
Like, yeah. It's pretty nice now. I mean,
I know, that's a half mile down the street, I haven't been. Anyway, that's beside the point. So I'll go ahead and close this portion of the hearing, there's nobody here to comment, so I'll ask for a motion to close this portion of the hearing.
So,
Make the motion. 1 and 2?
Okay.
Yeah, Jim.
And to Jim. All right, take the commission's vote by roll call. Jim Chambers.
Aye.
Rich Gullick.
Aye.
Steph Quinlan.
aye.
Nick Venti.
Aye.
Mike Siki.
Aye.
And Chuck Raymond.
Aye.
Okay, now that's the public portion.
Yeah, so what are your,
So-
what are your recommendations here?
Yeah, I think this is a really cool project. I think this would be a huge asset to the city, especially North Leominster. And for any, handicapped members of the community, I think it would be a huge asset. And you addressed all of the comments from DEP, all of our questions, so I would recommend that we approve the order of conditions.
Okay, and there are no special conditions, is there?
With our normal boilerplate
Right,
conditions, but nothing particular to this.
All right, we'll then entertain a motion to approve the project as described and as, any of the conditions as mentioned by the agent.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay.
Second, thank you, Steph.
I'll take the commission's vote by roll call. Jim Chambers.
Aye.
Rich Gullick.
Aye.
Steph Quinlan.
Aye.
Nick Venti.
Aye.
Mike Siki.
Aye.
And Chuck Raymond.
Aye.
All right, excellent. So you are
Thank you,
approved?
folks.
Right.
I will get that to you tomorrow. I will have that ready.
Perfect,
All right.
thank
Do you
you.
want these copies, do you need these copies back?
No.
You
no,
may
I
have.
don't, yeah.
That's for us.
We can
I didn't know
recycle.
if you
Your
were-
records.
City can recycle it.
All right,
Okay, cool. Thank you, folks, good luck.
thank you for your time and all your work.
You'll be doing that this spring?
Yeah, when do you anticipate starting?
July 1, right, I think
Yeah.
after
July.
July 1.
Very
Yeah, the
exciting.
grant.
Good.
Yeah.
Very
All right,
exciting.
have fun.
Yep.
Cool.
So, yep,
Good luck with the variance too, by the way.
yes, fingers crossed. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's done it before.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Oh, yeah, Mike, do you want to pass those plans down?
No, I'll
Put it in a big-
come on.
You keep
Okay. No.
Got files and files
All right, and there's no,
Indiana Jones. Just Mike.
still no DEP number for the next one, so we'll want to open that one.
No one open it?
Nope.
Because no one's here, there's nothing to do.
Yeah, we're
Well,
just
mostly
waiting
because
on
no
the-
DEP number, yeah, that's why they're not here.
No changes, nothing to
Yeah,
discuss.
yeah. All right, moving on to the regular meeting, under certificate of compliance, 554 Willard Street, DEP number 199-967.
Yeah, so this is in the area of Jitech Road, I think it is, Jitech Street and Willard Street. There's a number of industrial, like warehouse type businesses going on there. So this property, they had done some unpermitted work like 15 years ago, something like that, and the commission at the time issued an enforcement order to get a wetlands, like a buffer zone restoration project going.
These guys asked the folks to move along a little bit. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, we'll pick up on the video.
They're on TV.
They are, hear all the nasty things they're saying.
Thank you, Jim. Sorry, go ahead.
So yeah, so this, they got an enforcement order because of some unpermitted clearing. It's basically a wetlands buffer zone restoration project with a bunch of tree plantings and things. So I went and walked around there. Like I said, this was like 15 years ago that this all happened. So everything's been planted in. You can still see some of the old flagging from LEC Environmental, who was the company that did the restoration work. But everything's grown in, it's all looking good, so I would just recommend that we do the complete COC.
Yeah, because that the area where was a big berm put in place between it and the stream. Remember Rich, we went in there early on, it was behind one of the buildings on Willard Street, and it bordered that stream that goes down through there.
There's a stream that goes through there.
There's a big berm, we had to climb over it.
Yeah, this may or may not be the same place. There's a number of like old stockpile piles, it looks like, out there. But I don't think that was
Part of the enforcement?
That wasn't part of the enforcement, that wasn't part, those were from what I could see from satellite photos and what was included in the file, that's all existing before, it was just like a bunch of tree clearing that they did. But that whole area has since filled it in with trees and wetland plants, so it's all looking good now.
All right. All right, good then. Any other questions for Nick?
Who's the responsible party?
It was a previous owner that did that work, but the property has since changed ownership, so I couldn't tell you exactly. I do recall that LEC Environmental was the contractor that did that work, or they did the flagging anyway. So.
All right. All right. Then thank you, Nick. Entertain a motion then to issue a certificate of compliance.
A complete certificate.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I didn't say that.
Nope, that's all right. So I entertain a motion to approve a complete certificate of compliance for 554 Willow Street, number 199-967.
I guess I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Thank you, Michael. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I will take the commission's vote by roll. Jim Chambers.
Aye.
Rich Gullick.
Aye.
Steph Quinlan.
Aye.
Nick Venti.
Aye.
Mike Siki.
Aye.
And Chuck Raymond.
Aye.
Okay.
All right, thank you all.
Motion passes.
All right, moving on. Woodlands at Massapog Development, DEP number 199-880.
Yeah, so same sort of deal. This order was issued like over 10 years ago. If any of you are familiar, it's the cul-de-sac off of, I think it's Day Street in North Leominster. It kind of butts up against the other side of Massapog Pond. Yeah, it's just for the residential development there and the streets that were put in. So that's what that order was for. They just never received a certificate of compliance, so they, an attorney contacted me and asked for that. So I went down, looked at the plans, everything's looking good according to plan, and it's obviously all put in now, so
Yeah, right.
I would recommend a complete certificate of compliance.
All right, any questions? No, okay. I'll then entertain a motion to approve a complete certificate of compliance for the Woodlands at Massapog Development, number 199-880.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Nick. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Steph.
All right, I'll take the commission's vote by roll. Jim Chambers.
Aye.
Rich Gullick.
Aye.
Steph Quinlan.
Aye.
Nick Venti.
Aye.
Mike Siki.
Aye.
And Chuck Raymond.
Aye.
All right, excellent.
And I just noticed this white screen, I mean, I bet I look great on the camera with that background. All right, moving on, last one, Litchfield Street Utility Pole, DEP number 199-1168.
Yes, this one's more recent, it's from last year, so a lot of you probably remember, but utility pole had snapped in half, and it was kind of like dangling there from the wires, so they finally got around to replacing that, putting a new pole in. I drove by last week or the week before, and it's all looking good, everything's in place, and they are done. So I would recommend a complete certificate of compliance for this as well.
All right, thank you. Since this one's a little more recent, are any questions for Nick, based on what you want?
I
No?
have a question.
Yeah.
That file number, I went to the DEP website and
Mhm.
punched in that file number, and the site came up.
Mhm.
I did the same thing for the other two, and nothing came up. Is that because the DEP hasn't updated their database, or?
I think past.
Those are real old.
Yeah, like you can go back a ways, but it eventually stops, and I'm not sure what number it stops at, but it must be before, like after those numbers were issued, then they started keeping track online.
Okay, yeah,
So-
they're maybe never even uploaded.
Yeah,
to
they
the
might have like
system.
undigitized paper files
Right,
somewhere.
yeah, some paper.
I think
that
the
never-
In some office.
That never got uploaded.
Yeah, I'm sure if you want to go to Worcester and dive through their files, you'd find it, but.
Yeah, the online portal, I think they started it like 10 years ago, and they
Okay.
might have done a few before that, but they basically just started when they opened it, I think.
Thanks, I just wanted to, I was just curious as to why
Yeah.
those other two weren't out there. Thanks,
No problem.
that makes sense.
All right, so I will entertain a motion to approve a complete certificate of compliance for the Litchfield Street Utility Pole, number 199-1168.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Jim.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Rich.
All right. Now you're jumping on it. All right. All right. I'll take the commission's vote by roll call. Jim Chambers.
Aye.
Rich Gullick.
Aye.
Steph Quinlan.
Aye.
Nick Benty.
Aye.
Mike Siki.
Aye.
And Chuck Raymond.
Aye.
Yeah, glad you guys are fast, I was about to jump on.
All right, thank you. Moving on, under outreach. First, next nature walk is this coming Thursday at the Babe Ruth Field.
Yeah, so that's the Vernal Pool Nature Walk.
Yeah.
I've got 32 people signed up for it right now, so
Wow.
That's a lot.
I
it's
know,
gonna be
right?
a big blowout. We are supposed to get.
They're there to see Babe Ruth, so don't.
Yeah, right, it's a big misunderstanding. We are supposed to get a little bit of rain that day, so
Probably won't.
that'll probably put a dent in the numbers, but still expecting a lot. and-
That's good.
But the rain would be good for salamander, so.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Yeah.
The wood frogs have been singing down there the last
Nice.
couple weeks, so.
And the time for the interested public?
Oh, it's at 4 p.m., excuse me.
Good question.
Starts at 4 p.m. and goes until about 5:30. Could be a little sooner, could be a little later.
I was at a story time at the library
Hmm.
earlier today, which is why I texted you.
Yeah.
The storybook was about doing a nature walk.
Awesome.
And I was like, well, this would be like a really good opportunity to plug it.
Yeah.
Did
you plug it?
Well, I didn't know what time it was. You didn't text me back fast enough.
Sorry.
And like, yeah, my baby was getting tired. I was like, I gotta get up.
Nick, you had one job.
Actually, I have a lot of jobs. So I was doing some of those other ones. But no, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We should have a lot of people, but
Yeah,
that's
I
always.
don't know if how much more notice we need.
Yeah, right.
No, but it's always good to get the word out.
I
Yeah.
asked before to put it in the agenda, the time and the day.
You did. You did.
Did.
I did not do that.
Yeah, and you know what? I did check the agenda for the time before I text you.
I'm sure you
Um,
did. I'm sure you did. I knew it too when you texted. I was like, that's why she asked, because it's not on there.
Do I get an assist for that one?
Yeah, one point.
Thank you.
So, yeah, that's,
Good, well, good luck. It sounds like it's starting off good.
Yeah,
that's
And
great.
again, I hope it does rain a little bit. Keep the throngs down.
Keep the salamanders up.
And keep the salamanders up. That's
yes.
Yeah, win-win.
Yeah.
We'll get the right crowds
Correct.
down there.
Correct.
And then the next one, I didn't put it on here, but the next one will be in the same location on April 18th, I think. I'll have it in the, well, actually, no, I should say that because our next meeting isn't going to be until April 16th. So just to give everyone a heads up, the next one will be April 18th at the same location.
No, why the same location? You gonna look at different things?
Yeah, it'll be spring ephemerals, spring wildflowers.
There you go, nice.
A lot of trout lily down there.
Fun, yeah, I bet.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah.
You gonna go down to the river, or you're just gonna stay right by the field?
For this one, we'll probably stay closer to the field. We might go to the dam
Yeah,
a little bit, but that's like the closest part of the river.
yeah.
And then for the next one, we'll go down and walk all around the floodplain and see that.
Cool, all right. All right, moving on, partial eclipse, April 8th.
Yeah, so real excited for this. I've been dragging my feet, getting some things ordered, but everything is ordered, everything is coming in on time. Amazon actually tried to deliver the solar eclipse classes today, but it was after business hours, so they weren't able to get in, so they're gonna get it tomorrow. I have some telescope filters. I borrowed 2 telescopes from the public library. It has like a library of things.
Ah, excellent.
So they have 2 telescopes. I have both of them in my possession right now. I've ordered a telescope filter that you can put on the telescope and safely view the sun with it. So that'll be out at one of the viewing stations. And I'm going to be making another thing called a sun filter. That's like an attachment on the telescope. It allows people to it projects an image of the sun
Right.
onto the cone so that
Yeah.
you can stand around it and all see it without individually
Safety,
looking
yeah.
through. Yeah, and I got the promotional flyer out for this. I know Mike and Bob had volunteered to help. They'll be up at Sholin Farms, and then the library also agreed to help out with some staff members or volunteers, or
Nice.
not exactly who's doing that, but they said that they can handle that one, so.
Where, down here? Down here?
Yeah, so the 2 viewing stations are gonna be at Sholin Farms and at the public library, probably in the area in the back by the parking lot.
Mm.
And it will have solar eclipse glasses, we'll have telescopes with different attachments, maybe some pinhole projectors, just lots of different ways that people can observe the partial eclipse from here, and it will be from 2 to 4 p.m. And again, all that information is on the promotional flyers, which you should find on different Facebook pages along with the city conservation Facebook page has it up there now.
Leominster Unite, did you go out to that one?
I did not, I send it out to all the department heads, and
Okay.
then it usually trickles down to different things like that, so.
What if you're not on Facebook because it's just a massive collection of ignorance?
Then I will make an event on the city website.
Okay, thank you.
That's our only social media though, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
city calendar, there's an events calendar.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, the Fitch.
That's where I go
Sen-
look for stuff.
I usually put stuff on there, but I just got it out today, so I'll add that tomorrow. I'll
Thank
put
you.
it on there.
The Sentinel and Enterprise love this stuff, and
Yeah.
maybe you and Joanne talking about Sholin Farms and the eclipse and the conservation.
Mhm. I haven't heard from anyone at the Sentinel, or I haven't reached out to anyone, but I will definitely, I'll do that, because they actually, I don't know if we talked about it, or if anyone saw, but they did write an article about the tree walk
Yep.
that I had back in
Yeah, they
February.
did.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, yeah, so I was on the front page.
Ooh.
Uh-huh.
Was I in the back someplace?
I don't know. No, it was before that. you know.
Oh, okay.
It was like to promote it. kind
Oh,
of
gotcha,
thing.
okay.
So this would be a good opportunity to promote this too.
Yeah.
Because I've seen various things in local media about different other towns having eclipse events and things like that. So
Cool.
we'll definitely get our name out there.
And who's running it?
So Mike and Bob will be up at Sholin.
Okay.
What time are you getting there, Mike?
Because they have a beer truck.
Hey,
Um,
what time?
Well, it's 2 to 4, I'll be up there at 1 o'clock. I know,
Okay.
yeah.
I know Joanne.
And then the public library?
Yeah, 2 to 4. I'm not sure who will be.
Somebody else.
Yeah, maybe possibly Nadia, who heads the adult services up there. I've been talking with her. I don't know if she's going to be the individual doing it, but
Thanks, guys.
yeah, so that's super exciting, pretty cool. Again, I won't be here. I'll be in Dallas seeing the totality, so that'll be hopefully with the weather.
You know, one of the ones that's gonna be inundating northern Vermont?
Yeah, yes. But yeah, hopefully the weather holds up. It is weather dependent, so.
Was it gonna be
nice.
95% totality around here?
Yep.
Ish, okay.
It starts at, partial eclipse around here starts at 2:15-ish local time, so that's when you'll start to be able to see the moon crossing over. And then the greatest coverage will be at about 3:30 or so, and then it'll start to wane from
Okay.
there, so hence the 2 to 4 event time.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool, all right, it'll be fun. All right, moving on, Leominster litter cleanup.
Yeah, so we had talked about this a little bit, the last one, I know I mentioned it. The city cleanups, they have a big cleanup event that lasts about a month from like Arbor Day or so until near the end of May. So that'll be starting soon after our next meeting. Like I said, our next meeting isn't gonna be until April 16th. So between now and that next meeting, we should probably do a lot of work outside of the meetings, just coming up with different locations, coordinating different things. But I have the goal of getting at least one litter cleanup that we will do. I would like to see multiple, but that's up to you guys and how many volunteers we end up getting to come out with us. So, but like I said, it's a citywide event, so there will be multiple teams out there, but we're the Conservation Commission, so we should get a couple out there.
Sure.
Get some visibility out in public too. So,
Okay.
so yeah, if
We
anyone.
did so well last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does anyone, if, no pressure, if anyone has any immediate ideas or locations to concentrate on. If not, just, this is your little nudge to start thinking about that. And
My only suggestion, it's not a requirement, my only suggestion being the Conservation Commission is someplace along a body of water, some stream or river or pond or something.
we could do,
What about,
The,
Bartlett?
Yeah.
the pond?
Yeah, that would be good.
We could, there's a lot of,
Should probably concentrate on a public area though, right?
Private,
Yeah.
private.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
correct,
public.
yeah, correct, yeah.
You just want some fishing lures, that's what you brought.
yeah.
fishing lures and
Some free
fireball.
Yeah.
More
Whiskey.
fireball.
My
Yeah,
God.
refill.
The
Beer cans, yeah.
the last time I went down the rail trail, there was still that encampment down there, and there was quite a bit of trash down there, and that's a nice place that people walk, and it should be kind of,
Yeah. Is that on the Fitchburg side?
no, it was actually on this side, just, well, it might be over the line, it may be.
There's like a big wood pile somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think that is Fitchburg.
Oh, up the other side of Route 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking though, the Johnny Appleseed State Park / Babe Ruth Field, that's all, that kind of amorphous, unnamed area where my next walk will be. There's
Oh.
a decent amount of trash down there. It's right
Is it?
down along the
That's a
National
great
Road.
idea.
Perfect.
There you go,
Yeah.
perfect.
idea.
Perfect.
But keep thinking, try and come up with some more, but that's a pretty big area. It's like down underneath a residential area. It's right along the Nashua. It's like Leominster's lowest point is right down there. So everything kind of drains down to
The
there.
other area that comes to
Perfect.
mind too is behind the mall at Whitney Field there along the brook. It's-
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
that would be
good
good.
one.
That's a perennially trashy area.
Yeah, it is. I'd love to see somebody put some picnic tables, I talked to you about that before,
Yeah.
picnic
Yeah.
tables, and maybe have some of the local businesses sponsor one, and,
Yeah.
you know.
And that-
You gotta get the businesses in there first.
No, I mean, all the restaurants down there that have lunch, like Chipotle's and that, they have people that take out all the time. It'd be a great place for them to come, and
I've been to Whitney, well, no, there's nobody there.
actually, they just two stores, a cake store just opened up, I saw in the paper today.
Oh, that's fun.
It's supposed to be good. It's supposed to be
Yeah, the
really
big,
good.
the
It's great,
the
I
big
love
anchors
it.
are gone, but
Yeah,
there's
big
a
anchors.
lot of little stores
Well,
are.
Burlington Coat Factory's still there.
Are they still there?
There's I couldn't believe there's a whole mall inside. I had only gone to Joann's and then I finally walked past it. I was like, holy crap.
Who
It
knew?
used to be thriving.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
good stuff.
yeah, so start thinking about that, and don't be afraid to come with me with any suggestions or questions or anything. Yeah, let's start thinking about the litter cleanup. And also, I guess, related to that, like I said, Arbor Day is coming up, Earth Day, all that is like mid to late April. So just brainstorming, if you have any ideas or anything comes to mind, or you see an interesting idea that another town is doing for Earth Day or whatever, think it might be cool to bring to Leominster, just let me know.
Well, there's a planting opportunity over on Lake Samoset on this peninsula.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've got 10 trees in my basement.
If it ever becomes
You guys are
public
free.
land, then maybe we'll do that.
Alrighty, moving on, anything other commission news?
Oh, I don't know if it counts as news. A couple questions.
Yeah.
So if somebody was gonna put a chain link fence in an area that was wetland buffer, would they need to come in and file like an NOI? My neighbor
Yeah,
asked me.
so there's exemptions in the Wetland Protection Act, and fencing is included in that, but I think the wording is like fencing that will not impede wildlife, something like that.
How does that work?
So
I feel like all
if it's,
fencing is,
if it's something that's like just surrounding their yard,
yeah,
that's fine, and it's just existing lawn already.
yeah,
I would recommend have them reach out to me and I could talk to them, but
just
if
to
they're
double
just,
check.
yeah, if they're just doing like a fence in their existing lawn,
They got
that's-
dogs, they just wanna keep the dogs.
I don't, yeah, that's fine.
No, we wouldn't have stopped that.
Yeah,
Keeps the
Yeah, I would
dogs out of the
maybe
wetlands.
tell them to use, don't bring in a wheeled postal drill.
Yeah,
Do it
but
by
if
hand
it's
if they
like
can,
hand tools.
yeah,
Yeah, that's fine.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
pass on my appreciation for asking.
Yeah, right.
My other question was, about the site that had been, kind of recently within the last couple of years developed near my house.
Mhm.
And I was wondering if our special conditions have timelines in them for planting, and seeding, how long things can be left.
Oh, was that lot cleared?
Yeah, and there's still nothing there. People have moved in. There's still a pretty sizable soil stockpile, like right next to the silt fence.
This is the house that's already there.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
I
two
see.
houses that are already there. There's, nothing planted.
Yeah.
I will look into it, I made a note of it, but I believe the case is if there's an open order on it, then unless it's specifically in the conditions that they have to get this done by a certain time, as long as everything's done by the time the order expires or by the time they come forward with the COC, there's nothing.
You've got the
Okay.
3 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3
Yeah,
or
and
4.
I would say-
I believe
I would
our
say-
special, our extra conditions or typical conditions have no deadlines.
Yeah.
The only thing I would add is if you see sediment running out onto the street and down,
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, like that in and of itself isn't a violation, but if that's leading to sedimentation of wetlands or things like
Right.
that, then that
Yeah,
could be-
I think, the fence, in this specific location, the fence is, pretty questionable.
Mhm.
But just in general, do you think that is something that would be prudent to include in our special conditions for situations like this in the future? Just throwing that out there as something to consider.
What exactly are you thinking of?
Timelines on vegetation restoration.
Oh, okay,
I like timelines. I have pushed timelines
yeah,
regularly
Mhm.
when we've done things.
yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 years seems kind of a long time.
Kind of a long time, yeah, for, something like directly upslope of a wetland. There's a lot of earth moved around.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nothing is stable.
And we have given timelines to certain
Yeah.
folks. The one with the chicken coop near North Street, we had the steep thing near
Mhm.
West End Diner
Yeah.
with the bank and the grass, and they
That's-
had a deadline.
That's more typical, especially in like enforcement situations and like restoration type plantings, because they have to develop a schedule, so it'll be like, first spring, come back, and like second spring, everything should be established, we'll replant whatever's not. That it might be like a little too stringent to
Mhm.
include just as a blanket condition for things, but I'll look into that and I'll see what other towns have done.
Okay.
Maybe there's a better way to word it, like,
Yeah, just throwing it out there for
Yeah.
something to consider.
definitely, I hear you. And
Food for
I've,
thought.
you had asked me about that area before, so I'm sorry I did not get back to you on that, but
I forgive you.
I was texting someone else about the hiking, yeah.
Think about that if and when we get to a bylaw.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah.
if and when, come on.
When? Sorry,
Yes.
sorry.
When?
All right, cool. You all set?
Yep.
Okay. All right, moving, anything else on the commission news?
Our conditions could use some review. I did some editing at one point,
Okay.
but Angela wasn't ready for that.
Okay.
So somewhere I have a lightly edited version. I don't know if everybody's read them, but it's 5 or so pages.
If I
and
have,
was hoping
I
to be able-
forget.
Yeah, and I've read it, and it's been a long time, but it could use some serious cutting down, because who really is gonna pour through 5 or 6 pages of conditions?
Yeah.
It really, I think, needs to be much, more gravity.
Yes.
What about-
No.
Is that
Put it on
posted
the
anywhere?
Google Drive?
Yeah, is that posted anywhere? Is that in the drive or?
The revise?
No,
Or-
please share the current version,
I will.
everyone.
I will.
Okay.
All right, good.
Thanks.
That's a good one, I like that. All right, good. Moving on. All right, next meeting. Next meetings will be, the next one is April 6th, because of the.
April 16th.
It was, I'm sorry, April 16th, thank you, because the agent will not be here for the regular schedule, so we're moving it to April 16th. The filing deadline is this coming Friday, the 29th at noon, and then we meeting after that will be April 30th, and the filing deadline will be April 12th at noon.
Yes.
With that, unless there's something else pressing, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
I second her.
Thank you, Richard.
We'll take the commission's vote by roll call. Jim Chambers.
Aye.
Rich Gulick.
Aye.
Steph Quinlan.
Aye.
Nick Venti. Mike Siki.
Aye.
And Chuck Raymond.
Aye.